Alrighty then. Hello everyone! If anyone is actually going to watch the video about Learn and the Syllabus, thank you and welcome, or something. So this is how Blackboard Learn is set up. I'm just going to sort of go through all of this stuff, show you where everything is, go through the syllabus, etc, etc, etc. It's going to be really gross. So, you should have this syllabus and other resources thing, with links to, shockingly, the syllabus. There's a class-specific folder which just has all of your individual assignment Google Docs in it. I organize everything on a Google Drive just because it's easier to sort of roll changes out through multiple sections. So this is anything specifically related to your class. The General Resources Drive folder, which has a bunch of random stuff from pretty much every class I've ever taught. And then there are the YouTubes where I purge class tutorials. So ideally, if the stars align and I'm able to, I record my lectures and then I'll update them. I'll just upload those directly to the Grumpy Allison Teacher YouTube. I also have some other random polish tutorials, or if I make tutorials for the class that aren't super gross class recordings, I will put them on the Grumpy Allison channel. A lot of times if I do that, I'll notify you guys so that you are aware that they exist. And then there's another folder with a link to specific student examples of things. So, I'll just start randomly with the General Resources folder and just kind of go through all that until we work our way to the syllabus, which is probably going to take the longest to get through. So, what did I just go through? I did General Resources folder. So this is going to be, if it loads, and my computer is being really slow because I have 80,000 things open right now. Don't save that. Nobody wants that file. So this is going to be a bunch of random stuff. I have some class policy random things in here. You'll notice one of the docs in there is labeled outdated, this guy. So it's kind of I'm not using it for specific point things, but if it helps you figure out how I grade stuff, then yeah. I have this assignment submission specs, which is pretty much going through, and I link this on basically all the assignments, but that just goes through, reminds you to submit everything through Blackboard Learn, and then it's for renders, here are the settings that you should be using. Pretty much everything should be 1920 by 1080. Do either PNGs, TIFFs, or EXRs, no JPEGs, JPEGs are icky. Videos, same deal, Maya files, etc. For Maya files, again, just please note, the few times I'm requesting them for the animation class, please give me an MA file, not a binary file. Binary files are also kind of gross. Apart from that, if you look in the old PowerPoints folder, there's a whole lot of random PowerPoints and other information that have mostly been combined or made by other teachers, but is still definitely very relevant and might sort of explain things in a way that is different from the way I explain things that may or may not make more sense to you. I have a list of random free resources free modeling software, free video editing software, that kind of stuff. Instructions on how to install Redshift, etc. And I have also some sample models, which I made mostly for CGI2, but every once in a while I'll grab something from here and use it as a demo object in class, and if I ever do that, I'll let you guys know so you can download it and work along with the same files if you so choose. So that is the General Resources folder. Class-specific resource folder is just going to be, again, pretty much all of the most up-to-date assignments and syllabuses and other stuff for a given class. So here's all the assignments, and then here's a few other just sort of random docs for the class. Yes, that's pretty much that. And then a link directly to the syllabus. There's a lot of sort of relinking of things in here, but shrugs. And then the assignments folder, everything is laid out by week, so that in week 1, I just checked this yesterday, and there was stuff in there. I will go back and look at that in a second. That's so incredibly annoying. You can port Blackboard Learn classes, so you don't need to set everything up 8 times, and sometimes it works really nice and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, apparently it didn't. So what you should see in your folder is something like this. You'll have an actual assignment and then a link that'll take you to the Google Drive document explaining the details for that assignment. So that's how I've set up most of the assignments. In the chance, so if there's multiple assignments, I'll stick stuff in a folder. Otherwise, week 6, you only have an animatic due, so that's just, I've just labeled that with a little 6. So anything, like that little number in the front is just the week that the assignment is going to be given, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to run through the syllabus, hopefully quickly if it loads, ever. And then I will go through, what if I close some more stuff on my computer? And then I'll go through the actual assignments in another video. Or maybe I'll do it at the end. We'll see. Alright, so this is animation 1, hooray! And I'm mostly making this for my section 4 Thursday guys. Sorry I missed you guys since it was convocation on the first week, but anywho, my name is Allison if you haven't had me before. I also tend to make lots of eccentric and snarky videos. Contact info, here's my email address. Please use Blackboard Learn or your Drexel emails for all communication with me. And my office hours are Monday from around 12 to 3. In Urban, it's either 220 or 230B. If you go to Daphne's office, there's a little office like right next to hers that says adjunct office. That's where I am. And I say around 12 to 3 because that's my lunch break between 2 other classes. I might run out to get lunch, but I will be there hanging out eventually. Anywho, so you can read through all of this overview and objective stuff on your own time. I mostly just want to go through the actual, sort of highlight a few important stuff in the syllabus. So I've linked again to all of the assignments on Drive. How assignments are graded. If you've had me before, I'm doing things a little bit differently this time. So 10% of your grade is going to be for attendance, and then 90% of your grade is going to be assignments. And basically I've set up all of the assignments so that every point an assignment is worth is essentially 1% of your grade. So if you have a 10-point assignment, it's 10% of your grade. 2-point assignment, it's 2% of your grade. So hopefully that should keep things fairly straightforward in terms of how things are actually graded. That falls apart a little bit if I end up deciding to cancel or add assignments, in which case 10% of your overall grade will be attendance. The other 90% of your grade is going to be the total points earned divided by the total points possible. So hopefully that makes sense for that. For late assignments, every 24 hours the assignment is late, 10% of the grade will be deducted, and after 1 week the assignment is not going to be graded anymore, so please submit your stuff on time. It's such a silly way to lose points, especially if it's like a recurring thing. But anywho, and then when I say every 24 hours, like if your assignment's like a minute late, it's still a 10% reduction. So it's like that 1 minute to the first 24 hours, it's 10%, etc., etc. And then just my weird thing that I've added, if there's a project for this particular class, it's only going to be relevant for the final itself. So I assigned like work in progress stuff for the final, like have your models done, have your textures done, do, preliminary animating, that kind of thing. So if you have those assignments and you turn them all in at the same time as the final, especially if it's the same content you've turned in for the final, I'm not going to grade those work in progress assignments. And the only reason I do that, it's not to be super obnoxious, it's because those work in progress assignments are designed to help you guys stay on a specific timeline, and also allows you guys to get feedback from me as well as the other students in class crits. So if you turn everything in at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose of having that timeline at all, if that makes sense. So if you're going to turn in, work in progress stuff, do it before you turn in the actual final assignment. And then for the actual final, every day that it's late, it's going to lose 20% of its grade, which means after 5 days, it's automatically going to be marked as 0. So please, when you turn in your assignments, again, do it on time, as much as possible, unless you want to just lose points. Alright, so resubmits, I do allow them, and you can do them on pretty much everything for this class. There's like 1 or 2 silly little written assignments that are like scene analysis, like they're 1% of your grade and they're not particularly rigorous, so just do them the first time, and I'm not doing resubmits on them. But any of your like production assignments, like your weekly assignments, storyboards, demo reels, and the final, are totally good for resubmits. Just be aware that any points deducted from the original submission for stuff like lateness, not putting in parts of your assignment, etc., will not be added back. into the resubmission grade. So do make sure that you are submitting all of your stuff correctly and in the right formats, etc. the first time, because if you don't do that, I'm not giving you the points back for that, especially for lateness. There was a tidbit for that. Oh, yes. So I have set all of the assignments on LearnUp to have unlimited submissions, so if you submit something and realize like 2 seconds later, oh snap, I've forgotten part of the assignment, you should be able to go back in and just like resubmit that, and that's totally fine. It's mostly just like after I've graded stuff, make sure you have your stuff in. If you try to do an extra submission and it doesn't let you, please let me know and I'll just change that and learn. There's a setting I have to click repeatedly to get that to function, and sometimes I miss it. Anyway, so if you do want to do a resubmit, just submit over the original assignment with a note that you're doing a resubmission, and also just put in a little change log of the things that you've changed so I know what to look at. It helps speed up the grading process, but also gives me the best chance of giving you the maximum number of points possible because I know what I'm looking for the things that you've changed. And then also please resubmit all parts of the assignment, even if you haven't changed them since the original submission. And then that's part of what the changelog is for, so I know, what I should look at. But it just makes things a little easier because I don't need to skip back and forth between assignments. Apart from that, extra credit, I do offer it. I don't think I've actually made the assignments yet, but if I do extra credits, basically it's just going to be whatever points you earn from that are added on to the points you earn from your weekly assignments. It's essentially free points. You're never going to lose points for doing extra credit, and I have them you can turn them in any point throughout the quarter, pretty much until like the day before grades close is usually how I set that up. And you're also welcome to do resubmits on your extra credit, following the same policy as the above resubmit info. And then my funny thing I always add in, it is possible to earn over 100% for the class. Unfortunately, it still counts as an A+, which is kind of a bummer, but you can do it if you want bragging rights. Apart from that is attendance. It's 10% of your grade. If you're absent, that's going to be 1% off of your attendance grade. Arriving to class late is 5 points off. And then if you arrive more than an hour late, I'm counting you as absent, because please don't arrive more than an hour late. One absence is excused per quarter, like stuff happens, you get sick, etc. If you miss 3 or more classes, it is an automatic failure for the course as per Drexel's sort of generic absence policy. And then if you arrive late, please just let me know so that I don't accidentally mark you absent. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I'm sort of just like in the zone, or like you sneak past me and I don't notice people come in. Apart from that, I do try to be flexible and like work with you guys. Like I know, if you commute late, like things happen if your train's late or whatever. Just please let me know whenever that happens, and I'm more than willing to work with you guys. Or if, something super insane happens, like you're hit by a bus, or you have some kind of crazy, like, family thing that needs to be tended to, again, please let me know, because that stuff totally happens. You'll need to make up the work, but in that case, I can excuse, the absences rather than, automatically failing you for a class or something like that. So basically just, like, let me know what's happening, especially if it's gonna, impact your grade or, like, bump you up to these 3 absences, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. Note-taking, I do record my lectures, usually, if the programs are working, but I don't always, so please take notes. Critiques, we're going to be doing them in class. If you've had me before for CGI 1 or 2, the critiques are going to be a little bit more in-depth. The animation critiques tend to go a little bit faster, so I am able usually to cover everybody's work in class, so please do have your work submitted on time. And just be aware that when people are giving you critiques on your work, it's not because they, like, hate you on some personal level. We're all here to learn and improve our skills, and that includes me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I get a lot of inspiration from the stuff you guys do. But it's anything that people tell you that they like or that they feel, might need improvement. It's all for your benefit. It's not to, put you down or, like, tell you your work is terrible or anything like that. If you're not presenting, it is expected that you are still paying attention to critique, because a lot of times I will learn about different random, tips or other kind of things like that from watching other people's critiques. So it is always good to pay attention to what's going on and also courteous, and I do expect you to pay attention. Um, I would also encourage that you ask any questions, offer opinions and suggestions for improvement, etc. That is the whole point of critique. I am going to work on, making everyone else participate more than I might have in the CGI 1 and 2 lectures. So please be aware of that, or else I'm going to bring back my sad bag of names, and if no one's talking, I'm going to draw random names out of a bag and force you guys to say things off the cuff. And nobody likes that, so please participate. Grading policy, here's just the breakdown for what number value corresponds to a particular grade value, and then a sort of explanation of what all of the, so like for like an A range, basically that's saying that like all of the work looks really, really good, really polished on the same level, it's all a very high caliber. Something in a B range might be, everything looks really good except maybe one part of the assignment which isn't quite up to the level of the other things. So that would be, something like a B. A C is, everything's just sort of overall average quality, etc. I'm not going to read through all this, you can do it on your own time. The other thing I would like to note, as silly as some of the weekly assignments may seem, a lot of you guys are going to be going off to co-op and such, and this is probably one of the only classes we're going to really have to make portfolio pieces. So don't treat these assignments as just silly sort of throwaway weekly one-off things. Really do them as best you can, make them look as nice as possible, because again, it might be some of the only things that you have for a portfolio for co-op, etc. So do put as much time into them as necessary to make them look nice. I do also realize that you have other classes. Anyway, link to course calendar with things like, school holidays, etc. I think my Section 1 guys have off on like Monday the 14th. My Section 4 guys are going to be off for Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. Academic policies on plagiarism. Don't plagiarize. The full thing is here. Don't steal other people's work. It's going to be awesome. Cool. Also some blurbs about students with disabilities. Course add and drop policy and course withdraw policy in case you decide you want to drop or withdraw from the course at any point. And then just the bit basically saying I can change any of the stuff in the syllabus throughout the quarter, etc. Probably the only things I would really change are maybe switching out some assignments. If you guys, seems like you need more time for your final, something like that, I might cancel a weekly assignment. Or just sort of tweaking my late policy or resubmission policy according to random things that people ask me or that come up in class. Anywho, I think that is basically the syllabus and every other thing on Learn. So I am going to go through now in the next video in the weekly assignments and just go over what is due for the class.